Yeah. Red Bull has a very defined identity, so it's something that the players who have been around, they know what it's like going into a Red Bull game. So it's going to be, a lot of high pressure, especially away from home. They press high. Just sometimes a chaotic, hectic game. They like to condense the field. They like to play direct, so it's going to be about second balls. And for sure, always you have to try and, as much as you can, match their energy and compete with them.
Thanks, Alex. We'll start with Jacob and then go to you, Claudio.
Yeah, Alex, what do you feel are the biggest lessons that the team was able to take away from, your first game against Red Bull, so the 2-0 loss back in March?
Yeah, I think kind of like what I said. I think that when they have such a clear idea of what they're trying to do, it can put the game a certain way and put it on their terms, especially at home, especially early in the season where we hadn't really played together too much yet. So I think that, similar to the Charlotte game where we left that game with a certain feeling and a certain idea of ways that we can change what we're going to do without going into too much detail. It's a similar type of thing. Having played them before, we've looked at areas that we can be, take advantage of and also to improve in.
And your assist against Charlotte on Saturday, the back heel to Hani, you kind of have you've seemed to have this reputation throughout your careers, this hardworking, very very high motor player. Do you get any extra satisfaction from showing a bit of skill like that?
Not really. I don't. No extra satisfaction. I'm happy to be part of a goal and help, but it's whatever people say. It's their own. It's their own storyline. I'm happy with who I am and comfortable with who I am at this point. 10 years in. I don't really worry about how people look at me.
Alex, just like any other players, you don't want to come off the field at any time. We kind of saw your frustration coming off the Atlanta game over there. I'm just curious, what was the feeling when you compare perhaps what you felt coming out of that game and the end of the game against Charlotte, which is good for all of you?
Yeah, I think obviously, no one wants to come off the field. I think more if you see any frustration, it's more based off of just my performance and the way that I felt that I was playing and that the game was going. Because I think when you looked at Atlanta, they sat with 11 players really behind the ball, and so it was really hard to break them down. And I think maybe some of my frustration then was we were starting to pick the lock a little bit, and I think coming out of the game, I was like, ooh, things were starting to happen, but. The frustration is about, hey, we're losing the game 1-0 that I think we should be winning. And then Charlotte, at the end, they were also sitting behind the ball at certain times of the game, showing more of a disciplined low block. And I think we took some of the lessons that we got from Atlanta and applied them to Charlotte. And I think, the quick turnaround of being able to do that shows a really good step forward. And to be pushing like that at home is really important,
Now, I know you played many games perhaps with Jacob Schaffer, so I'm going to leave it off the question, obviously, because you played many times with them. But this new year with you in the middle and perhaps Jaspic and Eddie, what's been different for you in terms of what you can do when those two guys are next to you?
Yeah, I think we have whoever plays in the midfield, I think we have players with really big engines, like we talked about before. We have guys who are going to cover a lot of ground, guys who are going to be able to use a lot of energy to control and dominate the midfield. So I think knowing that you're going to have guys that are going to fly around, that are going to condense spaces by being able to shift and get to places and help the front line with their press, but then also help the back line with protecting them. It just gives you a lot more freedom, and it gives you a lot of confidence in when you play that, if you lose the ball, it's all right, they're going to fight for it and get it back, and that they're going to find you as well because they have a lot of quality. Everyone who plays there, Gaston, Wyatt, who's played there, Matt Corcoran, Brian Acosta. We have midfielders who are really, really, really good on both sides of the ball.
We'll go to the Zoom, starting with Valera, then we'll go to John.
Hey Alex, you've been in Nashville since 2020, so you've played the Red Bulls quite a few times since then. But does it feel any different at this point, or is it just another game?
Yeah, I think it's not like how it used to be. When I first was playing them the first few times, obviously it's just a strange feeling, especially, being at Red Bull Arena. I think always being at home, it was less of a shock to the system or just a weird kind of nostalgic but also like intense feeling. I think, but at this point, especially playing at home, no, it doesn't feel like doesn't feel like I don't even really think of myself in that way anymore as oh, this was my old team. It's changed so much. There's so few faces there that are still around, and I think I feel really part of Nashville at this point. So I feel more of a Nashville player than anything. So for me, no, it's more about just knowing what the game is going to be like and what it's going to feel like. I'm more thinking about that because of the things that they present on the field.
And then you've started every single MLS game this season. What do you attribute that to?
Coach keeps putting me out there, so I guess I don't know. That's a BJ question. I don't know. I just trying to offer whatever qualities I have and be ready whatever my role is. This year I've started every game so far in MLS, and I think we're having a really good start. So obviously you're going to continue to, the coach isn't going to change too much if you're, I think this is the best start we've had apparently in our history. So that's always going to help. If you're on the field and things are going well, that's going to keep you on the field. I'm definitely not under any illusion that if my performances drop, if the team performances drop, that BJ will be ready to make changes. I think that he's someone who he believes a lot in his players, and he knows that he has a big group. So definitely not taking anything for granted. Definitely not expecting that that's going to be the case all year. So that's why when I do get an opportunity to go from the start, I try and seize the moment, do as much as I can, be on the rise, and help the group as much as possible to give myself the best possible chance to start the next game.
Go ahead, Sean.
Alex, as you mentioned, you guys are off to the best start, I think, in franchise history after 12 games, but that's come with Walker being out for almost half the season. What does that say maybe for Jason in particular and the rest of the team as well to kind of have the success despite missing someone who's obviously a vital piece of the team?
Yeah, I think it's like I said, we have a really deep group, a group that definitely embraces the next man up mentality, and I think pretty much every player here believes and wants to start every game and believes that they can start every game. So I think that's always going to be a recipe for success. I think, losing a guy like Walker is obviously morally hurts a lot because he's such a leader and he's such just a stalwart around here. He's been here from the beginning and he's been playing at a high level the whole time. I think when you look at the way that he got hurt, though, that's the kind of thing that also brings a group together. He was really putting his body on the line for the team. Absolutely sacrificed, his body and his possible health for the team. And I think when guys see somebody willing to do that, it just raises the standard of what you have to do for your brothers, for this organization. So I think while we miss him a lot, and we're trying to get him back as soon as possible, the way that he put himself on the line for us, I think was just another gift that he gave. And I know he's working to get back, and I have no doubt that he'll be back soon.
In terms of goal contributions, I know the defense has produced quite a number of them this season. How different in your mind is that maybe from years past, and how important is it that you guys are getting so many goal contributions from the back line?
Yeah, I think it just helps to take pressure off of the attacking players. It's you always want as much as you can to spread the goals throughout the group so that defending teams can just key on one player and worry about shutting down one player. I think if you ask the attacking guys in this group, I think the attacking guys sacrifice a lot on the defensive end. So it's good. It's great to see the defensive players stepping up on the offensive end. And I think that when we watch film, especially in unit meetings, a lot of the times as attacking players we realize that we set the tone defensively because we're the first line of defense. We kind of decide how we're going to press. And interesting enough, defending players are going to touch the ball way more than attacking players. They're going to be the ones to set up the attacking, the way that we attack. So strangely enough, we really depend on each other. And when defending players are scoring goals, that's always going to boost everyone's confidence and get the team in the right direction.